Hey everybody, this is Perch. Let this idea of what's actually going on in comics. I don't know why this is a debate, and I do know why, but here's the part I struggle with a lot is that whether the business is healthy or not, whether money is coming or going, whether the revenue is up or down, whether stores are opening or closing, these aren't matters of opinion. There's hard facts. There's hard numbers to prove to this, and so I get tired of having the argument about it. I have people every now and then come to me and they'll say things like, well, and this is on a number of different topics. They'll say things like, well, so and so said everything is fine. It's like, oh, well, if so and so said it, then fine. Then I guess we can all shut up and go home, right? I mean, fuck it. I guess everything has been solved. I get that a lot with comic stores, and there's a video that I guess Zach did. Well, that's what this email I'm about to read is asking about around comic shops opening and closing. And let me read the mail, and then I'll go into kind of my answer. The mail says, "Hey Perch, maybe you can settle something for me. There was recently a video on the Diversity in Comic Guys channel. He hasn't called it that channel in quite a long time, right? I'm surprised people even remember that name. Like hasn't it been years? I don't know. It feels like it's been like at least 2 years, but whatever. I mean, notoriety lives forever, I guess. But anyway, on that channel, uh, he is basically talking about an article on Bleeding Cool with comic shops closing and opening. I don't trust the video on that channel because the narrator, Zach, I'm presuming, is often negative about comics in general. So, of course, he's going to portray the news as also negative. But maybe you could settle this question for me. Are comic shops actually healthy or not? I've done these videos. And what is the deal with people saying that comic shops are doing poorly when clearly, if you read the article, they are opening? And then there's a little bit more here. So, congratulations, by the way. This email actually forced me to go to YouTube, find the video in question, listen to it, which then forced me to go to Bleeding Cool and find the article in question. So, um, I had to first, put on massive ad blocking and, malware protection on my browser before I headed on over to Bleeding Cool. By the way, yes, that is a shot. Yes, it absolutely is. However, if you put an ad tracker, you put something that just, basically counts the amount of material that is going on that site, try it for yourself sometime. You will be amazed. It's like Bleeding Cool. It's like something is happening to your browser, and you will be amazed. Yeah, what's happening is there's an absolute crap ton of things going on with their ad partner. But anyway, be that as it may. One of the few sites, by the way, on the internet that if you visit it, after about 30 seconds or so, you'll get that warning like this website is using significant memory of your browser. It's like, shut this shit down. Anyway, basically the premise, the too long didn't read of both the video and the article was, the article was two comic stores have closed, 3 are open. The implication there is, hey, comic books are, that's net plus 1. So therefore, comics are growing. Comics are getting bigger. That is the purpose of that article, is to basically say that, hey, you may have heard bad news, but actually the data says that more are opening than closing. And then the too long didn't read of the video is basically digging in and saying, well, wait a minute though, 2 of the comic shops that are closing are traditional, what we would call comic shops. And of the 3 that are opening, only 1 appears to be a traditional shop. The others are not open, or open limited hours. I think some of them are still coming open, so maybe it's too early to make that call. But at least one of them is look like maybe a temporary store location at a flea market or something. Anyway, just they're not apples. Basically, the comment is this is not apples to apples. This is an apples to oranges comparison. And the implication or the theory in the video was that, this is all just, fuzzy math in order to prove a point that, comic shops are doing great. So that's kind of the thing. But here's the problem with this entire topic is that this isn't a like, gee, I wonder who's right, person A or person B. There's actually ways to factually find out and know, and you don't have to guess. You don't have to go, I don't know, I don't know how I'm ever going to determine who's telling the truth here. You actually, there is a way. You can, maybe you have to wait for these other two shops to open, but you can go to their websites. You can call. You can say, hey, how hours open. As was pointed out in the video, do the hours open match? Do all the new shops carry new comics? There's ways to get to a factual answer. This doesn't have to be, well, you got your opinion, I've got mine. And with a lot of things in business, it drives me crazy that people are content to live in this, and I don't know who to believe. Facts. That's who you should believe. Actual facts. Now, granted, the comic book industry has had a tough time of putting those out there. I think the people got comfortable and confident in saying, hey, we're getting, comic book sales numbers for Comic-Con. But even there, even that site, and Miller would point this out from time to time, if you're just going off those numbers and those numbers alone, it is misleading. You actually have to be educated a little bit about second printings, about trades, about all the, there's other parts to this, about things sold through other channels. Like it's not, you can't just take those numbers as the end all be all, this is it. I'll dispel one kind of myth that's gone out there. I've heard people say, comic books is the only industry where the numbers are hidden. And that's also not true. In fact, more industries are hidden than not. It's more common, actually, for shops to, for businesses not to publish their numbers to kind of minute detail. If you want to know more about the business, you have to actually be a shareholder, or you have to get their annual report. You have to dig in. Sometimes you have to hire a firm to do that. There's reasons you have to dig in to do it. It's not comics has done this weird thing where at times it's just been overly public about some of its numbers, but not the complete list of those numbers, which I think in general has confused everyone. But I'll say from a as much of a factual point as I can make, no, the comic industry isn't doing great. There have been more store closures than store opening. The business has shifted from a primarily kind of new comic back issue driven market to one that is augmented by toys and Funko Pop and all these kinds of different parts to the business. And you've heard me on this channel maybe saying that smart businesses are diversifying what they sell, that they can't survive on just new comics alone. They have to have something else going on. And if the new comic market and back issue market was just stellar and doing great, I would not be giving the advice. Maybe you're always wise to kind of have your money diversified, but still, I would not be saying the things I do. And the business, no matter what article is written, and again, you don't have to take my word for it. There are actual facts, actual numbers proven. I get exhausted having arguments with people who are either arguing in bad faith or arguing with their heart rather than their head. I want comics to be big. I want comics to survive. I want comics to grow. I desire a healthy, strong, robust Marvel, DC, Image, indie companies. I want it all. And I want it now. No, I want it all. I do want these things for comics. So when I say, hey, shops aren't healthy and things aren't going well in the business, it is not coming from a place of I have a personal grudge against, Marvel or DC and I want to see them fail and people driven out into the streets poor and homeless. I don't want that. Several of you have given me shit over my comments of like, hey, I think I would like to see higher pay in comics. For some crazy ass reason, that translates in people's heads to Perch wants Vita to make more. Like I don't even know what to say. I'm stammering. I don't even say dumbass. That's my response to that, you dumbass. But I want comics to do well. But despite me wanting comics to do well and be strong and be successful, it doesn't help comics, and maybe this is the big difference of opinion, it does not help anything to sit here and manipulate and lie and hide the numbers. And I have had this argument with people in comics before, and the argument is a very classic. It's something that has been said many, many, many times in comics, and it goes like this: if you say something negative, if you if you are negative about comics, you are hurting comics. If you say something bad, if you point out a flaw or a problem, you are doing harm to comics. That's the belief. And so as a result, what's happened is that you get people who are, terrified or cowed into basically saying everything's okay, the house is burning around me, everything is fine. And you're not, those people, the people who are denying reality, are not helping anything. Your optimism is not putting money in people's pockets. It's not helping, stabilize creators that could use cash. It's not. None of it is doing anybody any good. And there have been people in comics who have been ostracized for saying, "Hey, this isn't okay." In the old days, particularly, this is around like creators' rights. You get creators saying things like, "Hey, that artwork you should have to pay for that artwork." And there was big heated battles in comics with creators getting blacklisted for saying they want to be fairly paid. That's not right, but that uses the exact same logic. I mean, like, hey, if we have somebody complaining about how much money there is in comics, well, then that's doing harm to comics somehow in some weird, absolutely twisted bit of logic. Comics are not doing well. They are not. Actually, by the numbers, more stores are closing than opening. And when I say stores, I don't want to be funny with the definition here. I mean stores that carry new comics and back issues. That's what a comic store is. If you'd like to change the definition of a comic store, you can do that. But we actually no, you can't do that. Sorry, you can't just change the definitions of things. If I want to make a point that there are more oranges sold than apples, I can't suddenly start calling oranges apples because they're both round. Well, they're both round. Is there a really big difference here? No. Yes, they are. They're different things. This has been the problem with comics. It's like comics are doing great. Well, hang on a second. The pay is down. There's less security for creators. There's issues with distribution. There's lots of problems with comics. How do you say comics are doing great? Well, because we decided to call manga comics. I mean, they both have pictures and words, so they're comics. It's like, well, okay, hang on a second. Well, yes, that is true, and this is where people get hung up in the argument. So you wind up defending a stupid position. In this case, manga is a completely different product. It has been for a long time. For years and years, we did not count manga as comics. So now suddenly in 2020, about 2019, this started. In 2019, we're like, hey, this is a comic now. It's like, I mean, okay, you can say, hey, we've decided to count comics differently, and here's the historical numbers, here's the new numbers. You can do that, but you can't just, warp reality and pretend like this is the way it's always been. It's not. And everybody knows this. This is the part that really frustrates me and gets to me, is that this is not some impossible to understand concept. This is not like, well, this is bigger than all of us. We're just going to have to let go of this topic for now because there's no possible way for any of us to possibly ascertain the truth in this thing. I mean, if only we had more time and army, researchers that could thoroughly investigate and come to the bottom of this. No, you don't need that. Anyone with common sense knows the answer to this. It's a little bit like, and yes, this will get briefly political. It's like the argument of like, well, some men can be women. Okay, just stop it with that. It's not just women that can be pregnant. Men can be pregnant. Men cannot be pregnant. They cannot. Now, somebody may have a gender identity where they say they're a man, and but that is a different thing, and we all know that's a different thing. A woman can call themselves a man and say, "See, men can get pregnant," but you've radically changed the definition, and you know you've done that. Everybody, it's the most disingenuous shit in the world. Everybody knows exactly where that truth lies, and what everybody knows. So stop pretending. We have to stop pretending that all this stuff makes sense, and this is hey, this is just logic. This is we have to consider all viewpoints. No, we don't. Comics are struggling. If we would like them to not struggle, if we would like the business to be healthier, one of the first things to do, it's a cliche, is admit you have a problem. Admit that the business is not sustainable. Admit that the direct market needs dramatic improvement. Admit that we've got to figure out other places to go, and stop fucking around with wanting to split hairs over the definitions of things. That doesn't get a single comic sold. It doesn't help a single comic shop pay its rent. It doesn't help put the power on. It doesn't get shipping done. It doesn't, Penguin Random House, has been shipping omnibuses and graphic novels in a flimsy box that they look like they, chucked down the stairs a few times before they shipped it over to you. Like that, those are problems. Shipping out unsellable things because they're severely damaged is a problem. We ought to focus on that, not contemplate. It's like, yeah, but the box is recycled cardboard, and so we're saving the environment. It's like, great, who cares? I mean, that's nice. I'm glad we're saving the environment. That has not. This is, by the way, not a phony argument. Somebody posted a picture of Penguin Random House just fucking up the boxes severely before going into the comic shop, and people are like, I can't believe they would do this. I cannot believe that. Everybody's getting outraged. I can't believe somebody would ship something like that, which is reasonable. If you ordered something from Amazon and the guy decided to play rugby with it, before delivering it to your doorstep, you'd be upset. And yet, just to show how obnoxiously stupid people are, in comes people arguing. It's like, yeah, but that cardboard is this is an environmentally friendly packaging that they're using. You shouldn't complain about it. It's like, nobody was complaining about the fucking packaging. They were complaining about the fact there was a giant hole in the box. Stop it. Anyway, so my answer to you is, yeah, comic shops are hurting. We ought to come up with some solutions. I think there are solutions. No, I don't think the solutions are kick all the woke people out of comics. I think that is a whole different thing. The solution are based on business principles. It's based on creating something at a price point that people will buy, shipped in a way to encourage people to come in. This is a classic business marketing sales problem. This is not the culture war. This is not I don't know, matter of opinion. This is core business. And as if we continue to live in a fantasy world of just inventing our facts and whatever feels emotionally good to us at a time, yeah, nothing will get better. And so eventually, you will see sites like Bleeding Cool and Rich, who does perpetuate a lot of this bullshit. You will see those sites shut down because the comic company that is bankrolling Rich will stop paying. They're like, we can't afford you, and then we're done. I mean, that's we can certainly just wait for that day. God knows I blissfully pray for that day every chance I can get. No, but I mean that's where we're headed. We're headed for the end. Is everybody good with that? I mean, no. There's some definitely black-pilled people who are in the comments right now, like, yes, I want it all to end. No, you don't. You do. Stop lying to yourself as well. You may be irritated at some of the people in comics. You may certainly want your enemies punished. That's fine. It's your business. But, if you've been listening to the comic channel for this long, you would like comics to survive. You would like them to be healthy. You would like them to be strong. That's your guiding principle. The faster we can get out of the horse shit of which facts are true and all the rest of that kind of stuff, the healthier we'll be. Thanks for listening.